We talk a lot about in the coaching realm about sin and dysfunction and how sin can be passed down from generation to generation, and how as coaches we can even step in and potentially break that cycle, that we can be the light to these student athletes that may not have any light in their lives, that may have broken homes, might be going through really difficult situations. And I can be in a private, public, it doesn't matter. Kids are going through these situations, and I can be that light, I can be that guidance for them that can help turn it around, that can help be that positive influence on their life that they may not be getting anywhere else. It's actually interesting how I got to Liberty. So Liberty was probably the 8th college I looked at as a student when I was in high school. And as soon as I got on campus, I realized there was something different about this place that I just couldn't really quantify. It was just something you could tell was very, very different. And so I ended up coming here to do my undergraduate degree, and I did my undergrad in sport management, and then I stayed and did my master's in sport administration here. And then eventually I ended up coming back, did some things in between there, and had the opportunity then to come back as a faculty member, and was thrilled at the opportunity. I mean, I just, to be able to be here and be a part of what Liberty is, to be able to train students, teach them, create the next generation of sport industry professionals, that really, really excited me. We have a lot of biblical principles that we integrate. Obviously, being at Liberty and being in our program, pretty much every single class we are integrating, we're integrating biblical principles into. And so it's a variety of classes that we offer. There's different biblical principles that we can bring in. I think certainly integrity is one. The Christian worldview, the lens, the ethics of how we're gonna handle things. Yeah, so within the Liberty Sport Management program, we do a lot to build up integrity, to build up character, and to build up ethics. Within our undergrad program, we actually have ethics built into every single one of our classes. So in each class, each course that you take, you're gonna get a component of ethics in there. So sport marketing, you're gonna learn about ethics within marketing. Finance, you're gonna learn about ethics within finance, and communication, and so on and so forth. We try to talk a lot about a rule ethics versus situational ethics as well. Rule ethics are this nice little neat box, and yeah, it's great, but everything's not always black and white. And so sometimes we get into situations that can be a little bit gray. And so we do a lot of case studies with our students. We look at previous incidents, and then we give them scenarios and say, hey, how would you deal with this scenario? Let's say that you're a coach and you're coaching in a high school or a college, and you've got the athletic director's son or daughter on your team, and the athletic director comes to you and says, well, why is my kid not playing more? You need to be playing my kid more. And as a coach, you know that their child isn't that great, that the child shouldn't be playing more, but how much are you in fear for your job that you're willing to compromise ethically to play that child, that AD's kid, even though that's not the right thing to do? Or you get put into some type of situation where you're asked to do something that you're uncomfortable with, that could be a rule violation. How do you handle that situation? And then not just yes or no, do I do this, do I not do this, but then what are the next steps after that? Do you report it? Who do you report it to? How do you handle that situation moving forward? And so we really try to focus in on those types of scenarios and get our students to think through things. It's very easy to sit here and, yeah, of course I wouldn't murder somebody. Of course I wouldn't do this. But then when you start to get in those gray areas, oh yeah, that's a great point. I didn't think about that. And so we really get our students focused beyond just the yes and no answers to think about the why and then the how moving forward. There's several consequences to hiring employees and having leaders that aren't ethically put together, that they don't understand ethics, or they compromise on their ethics, or they have low morality. And we've seen in the sport industry, there's been a number of scandals over the years, and it's all across the board. At every level of sport, we've seen these scandals take place, whether it be anything from the FIFA bribery scandals to where we had, the Patriots have had several scandals over the years in terms of video filming and Deflategate, and some allegations there with that. There's other teams in the college realm like SMU that had a big scandal in the 1980s. I mean, they lost their football program for several years. And one of the consequences of that is that really SMU football has not been very successful since then. They've pretty much they've had a losing season almost every year after that. Across the board within this industry, there can certainly be a number of ways that a lack of ethics could cause serious and dire consequences. One of the big things that we teach in our program, our sport management program here at Liberty, is we teach respect. And respect not just for your superiors, but respect for your coworkers, for those that are around you. Respect for the game itself. I think that when you respect the game, when you respect the industry that you're in, that puts it in a framework that you understand. If I start to commit these violations, if I start to try to go outside the rules, what am I doing to the integrity of the game? And not just this team, not just this league, but the actual game itself. So I think that there's implications there with that. We also really stress with our students here at Liberty attention to detail. Attention to detail, attention to the finer things, because with attention to detail, that's something that gets overlooked sometimes. I think that attention to detail can really lead to success, and sometimes ethical violations can actually happen as a result of a lack of attention to detail. It's not that somebody purposely intended to create an ethical violation, but they missed something. They just didn't take the time to really look into something, or they just didn't practice that attention to detail, and it ended up into a much larger incident. When the sport industry is most healthy, it's a robust industry. Globally, it's estimated to be about a $1.6 trillion industry. So it's quite substantial, it's massive, but there's a lot of different levels of the industry. If we talk about professional sports, competitive balance is really, really important. We don't want teams being bad year after year after year. We want to see basically parity within the individual leagues. At the college and high school level, we want those opportunities, those participation opportunities. We want funding to be equal across the board. We want students to be able to have the opportunity, student athletes to be able to get involved and participate in those extracurriculars, whether they be in college or in high school. And then at the local level, having fitness opportunities, recreation opportunities, that within those industries there's chances for people and opportunities, facilities, resources that people can go out and they can engage in physical fitness and engage in recreation and sport.